Hey there, how's it going? I'm so excited to talk about this new Warhammer RPG game called Rogue Trader. So before we start, what is Rogue Trader? Rogue Trader is a Warhammer RPG game where the player plays as a rogue trader. What a surprise. You're charged with finding new worlds, exploiting resources, and navigating the stars, all for the Emperor, of course. Most of the game is played from a top-down camera where you control a total of 4 characters. This game allows you to make your own character, which is fully customizable in terms of their appearances, and there's a lot of background options that you can choose that affect the story of the game as well. The combat in the game is turn-based and follows the rules of the 1st edition core rulebook for tabletop Warhammer. If you also play D&D like me, it's going to be a very familiar system as the rule sets are pretty similar. So that's how the game plays, but now I want to talk more about my experience playing the game. This game is really deep and really complicated. When you first start, you're bombarded with information. The amount of talent and class progression is insane, and this cannot be reset, so once you make a decision, it is stuck there for the rest of the game. If you want lots of numbers and in-depth skill trees with many of choices, then you will love this. Personally, I wish they took a more simplified approach or something easier to understand so I could spend more time actually playing the story than delving into all the numbers, stats, and things like that. The story of Rogue Trader has really been a treat so far. I think they did a good job with everything being true to the Warhammer lore. The story is engaging and they allow you the space to find out things on your own and make decisions. Speaking of decisions, there's actually 3 different branches of morality in this game. Throughout the story, events and dialogue happen that let you choose how to act. This, of course, changes the story and your character as they go down different moral paths as a rogue trader. I have a feeling that this will lead to some replayability in the future. It's really fun having the freedom a rogue trader would actually have. While you get your power and status from the relic called the Warrant of Trade, you have less oversight directly, so you can somewhat do things on your own. You also meet different characters that you can recruit into your party. These characters are usually voiced and you can get to know them. Apparently you can also romance characters, but I have absolutely no idea how that works. You can talk to your party members at any time on your ship. Your ship is where you can travel around the space map and go to missions on planets. You can also settle issues on your ship when they arise. There is also a whole system where you can upgrade your ship and customize its weapons and different things like that. I haven't tried this part of the game yet, but I am curious how it works. You can also travel around and trade with other factions. There are several factions and each one has a reputation rating that you can increase by trading with them. They also allow you to buy items that might be helpful in your game. I'm not sure how important the trading part of the game is, but after 12 hours of gameplay, it's still not an important part yet. I assume it will be later on because there is an entire stat for it, but this game is very huge and takes a lot of time, so it definitely could be somewhere later in the game. In my opinion, this game's biggest strength is its story. The story is really interesting. Sometimes this game feels more like a visual novel than a turn-based RPG. Most of the dialogue is given to you through text that you read, and the game gives you little notes on how people react or how the environment looks. The dialogue in this game often reads like a book, describing what people say, but also how they say it. This really makes dialogue take longer, but you can get a really in-depth understanding of every conversation, and it gets you really invested in the story. At times I get that similar feeling when you're reading a book and you're fully immersed in the story, ignoring the outside world or ignoring the fact that you're even playing a game. This game gives you the space to make revelations about the story and to think about how to actually handle situations. The story is a really wonderful experience, but it is a very long-winded experience. It took me 3 hours to finish just the prologue, which is the introduction of the game and essentially a tutorial. Even speedrunning on my second playthrough, it took 1.5 hours just to start the real game. I really mean it when I say this game is deep, really deep. There is a lot going on. I also want to talk about the not so great things that I experienced playing this game as well. I think most people would agree when I say this game was released early. It's very disappointing to see that this game was not delayed when it really should have been. It is simply not done and has not been bug tested enough. I assume this is because the developers wanted to release it before Christmas. I've actually never experienced so many bugs, even game-breaking ones, in a new game release. They even have a button overlaid on your screen just to report bugs. It is that bad. The movement of characters in this game is actually hilariously bad. The pathing is sometimes silly, having your characters spin in circles before moving, or sometimes even doing serpentine maneuvers when they could walk in a straight line. The animations in general in this game are not the best either. When running, your character feels weightless and doesn't seem to have the full set of animations to make moving look natural. When you shoot from cover, the characters will do a very awkward cross-legged step to the side and hardly lift their weapons to fire. Their guns will be pointed at the floor and yet they still shoot. The AI is also pretty awful. They are really stupid. My first big encounter in the game was mostly won by bots killing their own team. A group of enemies had about half of their numbers killed by themselves. They often run in front of each other and seem to have no idea where their friends are. Sometimes they will even stand in front of an ally and get shot on the next turn due to friendly fire. For me, it kind of ruins encounters that include a lot of enemies, because the more enemies in an encounter, the more likely they are to just kill each other instead of actually trying to fight you. For me, these big encounters are kind of ruined by the AI just shooting each other, and you basically don't have to fight them as much as you should. What's worse is that your own friendly NPCs do the exact same thing. They will shoot their own allies and your characters. My only down in this game was from an ally shooting my own NPC. The NPCs also don't seem to fully understand cover very well and either use it wrong or sometimes not at all. This is all in the normal difficulty, but I feel like it makes the combat feel more like a speed bump for the actual story sometimes. Combat in this game is fun, but it doesn't really feel as polished as the rest of the game. But it's really cool seeing a battle sister volley into a group of enemies with a bolt gun and tear them apart. I also had another bug where the camera in combat got stuck on an enemy and made the game play in slow motion. Pretty much ended the entire fight because I had to reload the save. That's my biggest criticism of this game, is that it's pretty buggy right now. It ran fine on my PC, but every session there were bugs or unfinished parts of the game. I think with a few patches this game will be really nice though. I think the story and characters make up for the early release bugs, but you better be ready to start reading. So to summarize my thoughts, this game has an amazing story experience but needs more development time, and it's filled with a lot of bugs and unpolished material. Still, if you like Warhammer and story-rich RPGs with deep and vast complex systems all happening at the same time, you will get lost in this game. This is the best Warhammer RPG I am aware of, and with a little more work, I think it'll be a lot better. Have you guys tried Rogue Trader out, and if so, what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and I try to respond to as many as I can. Make sure to check the description to join our Discord, Patreon, and all my other socials. Thank you everyone who subscribed on Twitch, Discord, and Patreon for your support. If you liked the video, consider subscribing to my channel for more Warhammer and gaming things. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Good night.